Well, hello there, music lovers and vinyl lovers. How we doing today? Welcome to the channel. As always, nice to be chatting with all of you and hanging out. As always, we're going to show the records I've collected in the last month or so. And it has been a good month so far, because June's not over yet, but it's been a good month. I mean, earlier I've seen Steely Dan in concert, and then shortly after that I saw Tears for Fears and Garbage in concert, and those were great shows. My band has done a couple of shows within the last month or so. Those were a lot of fun, and we got a few more coming up. It's been good times. It's been really good times, and somewhere in between that I've collected some albums, and time to show them off. So let's get started with Asia. This is Asia live at the Budokan, Tokyo, 1983. Asia in Asia, as the hype sticker says. This is a MTV broadcast back in December of '83. MTV satellite broadcast to America December 6, 1983, for Asia. I vaguely remember this event. Vaguely remember. I mean, I was a fan of Asia back then. I liked Heat of the Moment and Time Will Only Tell. Those were at the time, those were the only two songs I knew, watching the videos on MTV. But really glad to find this live record, an early 80s live record of Asia. I do have one live recording of Asia on a pick disc, but this is when the band reunited, early 2000s. So it's really cool to find a record from them from back in the day, back in the early 80s, when all this was new. And the record even starts with an introduction with Mark Goodman introducing Asia to all the fans in Tokyo. So some cool pictures there in the gatefold of the band from back in that time. And it is a 2-album set, like I said. Let me just set that down so I can show you the labels. Nice looking labels for record 1. Look at that, really cool. Same thing on the other side. So some really cool looking labels. You can tell this is audio from a TV broadcast. That doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. It just has that sound to it. So you can tell this was early 80s TV broadcast audio, but it still sounds good. It sounds great on the speakers. You just kind of adjust the EQ, adjust the volume, and you'll really get a good sound out of this 2-record set. But you gotta play with it a little bit, tweak it a little bit, and you'll be right there. This is record 2, different label for record 2. You can see there, not as colorful, but still nice. And the album kicks off with Time Again, which is probably my favorite song from their first album. It just sounds great live. Sounds better on studio, but in studio recording, but they do have the spirit of it live, and the energy is really there. And it comes with this short little flyer of pictures in the insert. Front, back, and everything in between. So there we go. I haven't read this little story yet about the broadcast, but I'll get to it. I was just excited to bring this home and listen to the album. And like I said, I vaguely remember this day on MTV. So this was a real treat to find in the record store. I didn't know this had been released. I was real excited to find it, and snatched it up immediately and brought it home. This was one that was definitely coming home with me. And like I say, the audio is good. You can tell it is TV broadcast audio, but it still sounds great. I mean, the Time Again is on here. Heat of the Moment obviously is on here. Only Time Will Tell is on here. Soul Survivor closes the whole thing out. The Smile Has Left Your Eyes. And a lot of great songs from their first album. So great stuff. Asia in Asia, live at the Budokan. Sensational record, absolutely sensational. In my last video, I said I was expecting a live album from the Police, and now it is here. Police Around the World, live. This is from 1980, and really cool album here. One record in this, and it's not a 2-record set, just one record. You had a choice. You could either go the vinyl record plus a DVD, or you can go a CD plus the Blu-ray of the documentary Police Around the World, which came out in 1980. I remember seeing it on MTV way back in the day. I would prefer Blu-ray, but I really wanted this on vinyl. So I decided, you know what, DVD is going to be good enough. It's not like the original was shot in HD anyway, or 4K. So a DVD of it would look just fine. So I decided to go with I wanted the vinyl anyway, so I just have to live with the DVD of the documentary, which is fine with me. This is a great sounding live record. I'm so glad to have this, being such a big Police fan. I couldn't wait to own this and spin it. Silver vinyl. There we are. Oh, it's just a thing of beauty. Just a thing of beauty. It actually came with the poster. It came with a poster, and the poster basically is just that picture there. I have it down here still in this tube, but it's a pain in the butt getting it out of there. But trust me, that's what it looks like. I don't know what I'm going to do with that poster. I don't know if I'm going to hang it or just store it somehow with the record. Well, I can't really store it with the record, but I don't know if I'll hang it. Maybe I will hang it. I don't know. I haven't really decided yet. And here is the DVD of the documentary I was telling you about, which, like I said, originally came out in 1980. And I've already watched this. It was fun to reminisce and see the different countries they went to and the sightseeing they did. And one scene, the guitarist wrestles a sumo wrestler in Japan. That part was hilarious. Andy Summers. For some reason I forgot his last name, but Andy Summers wrestling a sumo wrestler. that scene's pretty funny, actually. But there's a lot of great live footage on that DVD, as well as this vinyl record set, or album, I should say. So the song list is great. Walking on the Moon, Death Wish, So Lonely, Can't Stand Losing You, Truth Hits Everybody, Roxanne, Born in the 50s, Message in a Bottle, and ends with Bring on the Night. Very good live record. I mean, I have some bootlegs of the Police that sound great too, and I have a double live CD. But real happy to have this. I know their Greatest Of came out on a half-speed mastering from Abbey Road Studios. I may get that later down the line. I'm not really sure. I have all the albums that contain the songs on there. It's just, it's such great. From what I hear, it's really good audio, but I don't know. I haven't heard it yet. But I'm very happy with this for now. I love this album, and so glad it's in my Police collection now. I've spun this a few times, and it's great every time. Okay, another cool, rare record from a band I absolutely love. It's from Dream Theater, and this is the Falling Into Infinity Demos, 1996 to 1997. Falling Into Infinity was one of my favorite Dream Theater albums, only for the memories that come along with it. I had just moved to Sacramento. I made a friend who I was trying to start a band with. His name is John. We were both Dream Theater fans. And I remember the night that Falling to Infinity came out, I was hanging out at his place. I convinced him, hey, let's go get the new Dream Theater CD. And at the time, it was like 10 o'clock or so at night or whatever. And he says, well, there's no way any store will be open at this hour for us to even score it. And I said, no, Tower Records stays up until about 11 or midnight. Let's go over there. He didn't believe me. We went to Tower Records. Sure enough, they were open. that late at night, and they had 2 CD copies, so one for me, one for him. Went back to his apartment, got insanely drunk, and listened to this album. Well, not this album, but Fall Into Infinity studio record for the first time on his stereo in his apartment. Those were good memories, and we eventually went to go see a show in San Francisco during that tour. Great memories of that. Great memories of that. So to have the demos from that album is really cool. And not much glamour going on in the back. It's a gatefold record. So there's the gatefold. And a picture collage. Try to get that in the frame there. So pretty nice, pretty nice. And 1, 2, yeah, this is a 3 record set. And I'm just going to show you the labels real fast. Nothing that exciting as far as artwork, but still cool to have. Obviously they got a lot of songs from the album, but songs that didn't make the album are on here that are just as good, like Raise the Knife, Where Are You Now, on the first side, of course. Oh, and alternative versions of the songs that actually made the record. You or Me is on here, and Anna Lee, and Burning My Soul. It is a killer album. And my favorite song on here, on the demo session that never made it to the actual studio record, is a song called The Way It Used to Be. I remember back in the Napster days, I found that MP3 on Napster, and I burned it along with some other MP3s from Dream Theater, and I made like a Dream Theater CD. But that was the Way It Used to Be was a very opening track on that special CD I made, and I swore it was my favorite song for a long time because I absolutely love that song, and I just couldn't understand why it didn't make the cut, why it didn't make the Fall Into Infinity album. It's a shame, and they've played it live at some places. Unfortunately, the shows I've went to, I didn't get to see it live, but I've heard live recordings of it. But it's a great song. There's another song on here, Cover My Eyes. If you own the 5 Years in a Lifetime video, not the CD or the album, but the video, you'll hear a great version of that song on there, Cover My Eyes. I think it's an acoustic version. And then there's another song on here, a demo song called Speak to Me. Again, didn't make the record, but a great song. And I remember Speak to Me was also on that video, that home video from Dream Theater. And the very last song we have, Metropolis Part 2. This was the genesis of the idea that became Scenes from Memory 2. And I think I have that album here. Well, I know I have this album here. I just got to remember where I put it. I should have this ready. Which eventually became this album right here. Scenes from Memory. Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory. Well, I have the demo that sparked this whole album. So, but a different keyboard player. On this demo, it was Derek Sherinian, but when they finally took in the studio, Jordan Rudess was now the new keyboard player for Dream Theater. So, unfortunately, Derek Sherinian didn't make that record, but his keyboard playing is on the demo, which is included and takes up all the last side of the last record. And the whole thing is this one big long, either 15 or 20-minute instrumental, no vocals, and you just hear the ideas of all these great songs on this. It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I think this comes with a CD. I've listened to the records, but I've yet to spin the CD portion of it. But I've listened to this album a bunch of times already. I've only had it a couple of weeks, but one of my favorite Dream Theater albums, and these demos sound like they're the studio record. I mean, really great sounding demos. They are not rough sounding at all. Dream Theater made some amazing sounding demos during this period, and so I'm so glad to have the whole collection of demos on three record set. So good, so good. Plus, you know, you're the demo versions of all the songs that did make the record. You know, particularly New Millennium. That sounds great. Just Let Me Breathe sounds fantastic. Lions in the Sand sounds amazing. Such a good collection. I'm so glad I picked this up. Very worth it. Maybe go back and listen to the Falling to Infinity record. So I do have it on vinyl, do have it on CD. But I should put in the video, just so I can hear the songs that are from this album that made that video, that live video. That should be cool to listen to. I haven't done that yet, but it really made me visit this period of Dream Theater, which is one of my favorites, just for the personal memories that went along with it. Cool stuff. All right, this one I'm excited about, and I'll tell you why in a minute. It's from Howard Jones. It's a live record called The Peaceful Tour. And what a fun record this is. There we go. I'm excited to hear this because I'm going to drive to Sacramento and watch Howard Jones perform live on the 21st, which is next week from now. And he's going to share the stage with Midge Ure, who's from Ultravox. So the two of them are taking the stage together, so I cannot wait to see that in Sacramento. That's next week, the 21st. This is a live recording, I think early 2000s or so. The Peaceful Tour. It's on blue vinyl. And this is a really good live album. Has a lot of the 80s hits from Howard Jones on here. And yeah, I mean, the album starts off with a ripping guitar solo from some guitars that he hired in his band. And it goes into the song Conditioning. Side A has, like I said, Conditioning, New Song, Like to Get to Know You Well, Collective Heartbeat, which is a really great instrumental. Side B, Hide and Seek, All I Want, Things Can Only Get Better, which turns into like a salsa groove at the end of it. Latin salsa groove music. Oh, it sounds great. And ends with the song What Is Love. So a really fun collection of songs, live recording from Howard Jones, one of my favorite 80s artists. Can't get enough of the guy, and this was a really fun album to collect and put in the Howard Jones collection. I don't have many official live records from Howard Jones. I got a couple of live DVDs of Howard Jones, but nice to have an official live record, so really cool to put that in the collection. All right, this was a huge surprise. I wish I had listened to this more than once, but I just got it recently, and it's been a busy week, so I've only listened to it once in its entirety, but this is a good album. Again, another of one of my favorite bands from the 80s. It is Midnight Oil and their new album Resist. This sounds like Midnight Oil from the 80s reborn on steroids. A great album. A very, very good album. I wish I could say more about it because, like I said, I have not had this record long. Not even a week yet. And I've only listened to it in its entirety once and kind of went through some of my favorite tracks one more time. I need to give this album more of a listen so I can talk about it more, but I'm real excited to have this. When I bought it, I had not heard anything off of this album, but it was getting good reviews, and I wanted to check it out for myself, and I'm so glad I did. It's on red vinyl, and there's a label for side A, and there's a label for side B. Last week they came to Northern California. They came to Oakland. Unfortunately, I was not able to get a ticket and missed the show. And I'm kicking myself because I just recently scored this record, and it would have been great to hear this whole album performed live, or at least the songs, whatever they chose play live from this album on stage would have been great, because I think I like just about every song on this record. It's so good. Like I said, it sounds like the 80s Midnight Oil back again. It just sounds so fantastic. And second record, but same deal with the labels on red vinyl. Really nice though. One of my favorite 80s bands, and God, when you get hooked on something from the very first listen, this was a blind buy, though I was hearing good reviews about this album, but had not heard any songs off of it yet until I bought it and brought it home. I was very pleasantly surprised how great this album is. Side B's probably my favorite song, but trust me, I like the whole thing. The song Nobody's Child, the song At the Time of Writing, and the title track We Resist. They sound great. They sound great. And this is such a powerful album, and this thing's a good kick in the ass, and I love this record. And you know how it is, I spin it when I turn the camera off. But if you're an 80s Midnight Oil fan, seek this record out. You will be happy. And now I wish I had seen them live. That would have been a great show, but hey, at least I got the wax. And that makes me very happy. Let's keep it 80s, shall we? Erasure, Circus. I could have swore I had this record in my collection already, and then when I went through all my Erasure albums, I was stunned to see I did not have this album. I don't know if I had it on a cassette or something, because I remember hearing this whole album a few times. So I just assumed I had this record on vinyl. I didn't, so I found a nice copy of it, used. Oh, here is the label. Oh, the inner sleeve, I mean. And it's just on Sire Mute label. And great songs on here. Recently I bought a live album from Erasure, a 3-album set, live recording. And I love spinning that one too. That's a great record to have in the collection, and I was so happy to spin it. So now I want to collect a little bit more Erasures on vinyl. And so I started with this one. And I think the next one I'll try to look for is Two Ring Circus, which was, some new remixes, and I think there's a couple of live tracks and songs that didn't make the cut. So that'll be the next one. But like I said, thought I had this already. Was surprised to see I did not have it on vinyl already. So here we are. Such a good album. From start to finish, this is just a good one. Doesn't have to be me. Oh wait, it doesn't have to be me. Sorry, Hideaway, Don't Dance. It's just a great album. Great album. So Erasure, The Circus. A couple of 12-inch singles, and we'll just call it a night, shall we? And this band, I have most of their albums, minus one, and a lot of their compilations. So, and their latest album, but I don't have any 12-inch singles from this band. I was surprised. And I have a ton of 7-inch records from this band, but not a 12-inch single. So I found one, and that band is ABBA. It's a 12-inch single for their song "Lay All Your Love on Me," and on the B side we have "On and On and On." 2 songs from their album Super Trooper, which came out in 1980. And this is the 12-inch single, collector's edition item. It's on the Epic label. So there we go, Epic for ABBA. I've been seeing a lot of video clips of their latest show they did as avatars. It premiered the end of May, or towards the end of May in London, so I saw a lot of footage from that show, and it looks very impressive as far as how realistic the avatars look, how impressive they built this arena just for the show, because it's not a tour. They don't tour all around the world. They built an arena in London, and everybody just has to travel to London to see this show. And it looks really good from what the video clips I've seen. The light show is extremely impressive. It's one of the best lights and video and special effects, visual effects shows I think I've ever seen on YouTube. I've not seen it in person. I wish I had. And the avatars look pretty realistic, even though they're not real people. They do have a live band that plays the instrumental music, and they're to the left of the stage as the avatars perform on most of the stage area. And it is a very impressive looking live show. Hopefully they have a residency in Vegas. I could take a trip in Vegas and see it. But it looked really impressive. And Lay All Your Love on Me is one song that's featured in that show with some great lighting and video effects. It's pretty damn impressive. So check it out on YouTube, ABBA Voyage Live London, and you'll see some really cool little clips of what they were able to put together. It's pretty impressive. It may be the future of live music. Who knows? All right, last one, and then, like I said, we'll call it a night. This is from the Elton John Band, featuring John Lennon and the Muscle Souls Shorns, or whatever the hell that means. Anyway, 12-inch single for Elton John and John Lennon. Supposedly John Lennon's last public performance. And this took place November 28th, 1974 in New York, Madison Square Garden. So there's a good picture of the two of them. And an even better one here. I had this on a 7-inch record, but it only contained 2 songs. This one has an extra song on it. So on side 1, I Saw Her Standing There, the Beatles classic song, and also Whatever Gets You Through the Night. That's the song that was on my 7-inch record. And on the B-side, a great version of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which at the time Elton John remade and was one of his singles. So he was joined on stage with Elton John. He was joined on stage with John Lennon, and they performed those 3 songs. And it's nice to have a 12-inch single that has them. There's a label there. Really surprised to find this on a 12er. Like I said, I had it on a 7-inch record. That was good enough for me. I was going to leave it at that, but I saw this in the store. Yeah, I think this was like $7 or something like that. The vinyl's in great shape. The cover, the sleeve is in great shape. So I thought, what the hell? I did like the 7-inch record. Might as well have a bigger version of it. So there we are. And I do like Elton's cover of Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and the live version is really good too. So very cool to have this on a 12-inch single. Little piece of history there. So Elton John joined by John Lennon live on stage, New York, Madison Square Garden, 1974. Really cool stuff. Supposedly it was, from what it says here, Elton John's last public appearance. I don't know if that's really true, so I'll just take their word for it. Alright, that's it. That is the vinyl I'm going to be showing on this video. Hope everyone's doing good out there. Leave me a comment. We'll talk and exchange words and energy and emotion. I always look forward to talking to all of you. Hope everyone's doing well. See you at the next video. Later days, folks.